Okay. Yes. So good evening to everyone. Welcome this evening, our usual Monday Real Talk program. Today is already Monday, the 29th of December, 2025. It's slowly evaporating. In 2 days' time, December will be no more. And so we are happy to have you tonight. Tonight, with us, we have our esteemed political leader and renowned world economist, Dr. Thomson Fontaine. And we should be joined by one of our executive members a little later. When he comes on, we will make the pronouncement. But if he doesn't experience any technical issue, we should have him join us soon. So as you know, we have just, completed the Christmas season. And by the way, we are still in the Christmas season. I think it officially ends on December 7th, I think, on January 7th, 2026. But by and large, the part where we celebrate and be most active and meeting families, I know that's far gone already. And we have the New Year coming up to celebrate. And so early o'clock, we can say Happy New Year to you because our next program would have already fallen after New Year's. So we say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And tonight, Doc, I don't know if we can exchange. Just tell me how was it like for Christmas and meeting people as usual. What was it like? I think our viewers and listeners would like to know what has transpired on your side, and I can probably say what probably had medical experience as well. So here we are tonight. Welcome, Doc, to Real Talk.
Well, thank you very much, Soso, and it's good to be back on Real Talk tonight. And imagine we're in the middle of the Christmas season, and Christmas went by with barely a whimper. A lot of people were not really feeling it,
Right.
unfortunately. But let me just say good night. It's amazing, so that the number of persons that tell me that they listen to Real Talk. I've been pleasantly surprised. And let me just say good night to Pastor. I met Pastor. Wow, Pastor Parilla.
Oh, Pastor Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Thomas Parilla, man. Yes, Pastor.
Yes, I met him on earlier this week or last week, and he says he religiously he listens, he makes sure that he's tuned in every single Monday. And I just want to say good night to him. I'm sure he's listening tonight. And to all of our regular listeners, we have a number of persons who say that they always listen, and it is really good. We have a very I think so. I think we have Tim with us.
No,
I
right.
think we
I
have.
see the guest. Although I send a link to someone to join us, but not necessarily to join us on the program.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, so
All
I
right.
think it's a diasporan friend, and I ask that she shares it with share the link, and so so it's not her.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I thought that was
No,
our
it's not yet.
executive member joining us.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, no, it's great. Otherwise, I think that there is that feeling in Dominica, and of course, the news of the visa restrictions came right before the Christmas, so that served as a damper. And as if that was not enough, the news from the European Union made it even worse. So it's a lot going on. It's a lot, and I think the people of Dominica are really going through it now. And that is why I tell you, I think the desire for change is growing every day. I think people are getting really fed up of this government right now, and they're really looking forward to some serious change. And we are thankful that so that we're in a position to offer that change. I think we're in a season of hope, offering hope and to the people of Dominica through our very well thought out plans to bring development to this country and to embrace everyone. We are not about pushing anybody out. We are about embracing our fellow Dominicans. Even those who don't support us now, they will support us later when they see that we are well-meaning and that we are working in the best interests of our country. And so it's a great time. It's a great time. It's just unfortunate that things are bad as they were, and many persons missed their barrels. I understand the boat could not dock just before the Christmas, so persons missed their barrels. So it hasn't been a very great Christmas for a lot of people, but we hopefully can put that behind us and move forward.
Yes, and well, thank you. And it's been Christmas all over, and many of my friends, they have spent Christmas, a lot differently. Some people have different cultures. They're in various jurisdictions that celebrate Christmas differently. But all in all, persons who live in the diaspora, they have said, look, they have been listening to this program a lot, and they look forward to it. In fact, some people say they ensure that they ask their boss or bosses time off to ensure that they can catch Real Talk. So let me just welcome everyone to Real Talk tonight. And also we can be reached now by telephone, WhatsApp. You can use the WhatsApp, you'll call in and we will project your audio, so that people can listen to you live. But you have to call 767 or 1767 245 2858. Once you call this number by WhatsApp, your voice will be projected so everyone can hear you participating. So you can have even written participation by the stream, and you can also call live. But Doc, we have to get to the burning issue because this has been on our doorsteps for a very long time, and we do not intend to put any of this issue behind us anytime soon, because it is very important that when we do things as a country, we have to do it responsibly. We have country of laws. While we respect the sovereign rights of others, we also have to respect the sovereign rights of others. Others will have to respect our sovereign rights. But interestingly, when you have a commodity and you are selling it internationally, even more so, you have to be very careful as to how that commodity reaches the market. And I don't mean to say to our listening public that our passport has now become a commodity. That is real nonsense talk. But the way our government behave, it is their commodity, and they do what they want with it. But before you get into giving us where we are today with the passport, with the CBI program and the implications for Caribbean, for the 5 islands, and more so Dominica and Antigua, particularly Dominica, because remember, we heard our Prime Minister said in the House of Assembly, and it is in the hands that, and I remember 2 years ago he said, for those who attempt to mess up the CBI program, they will be dealt with in the swiftest manner. Doc, that is recorded in the hands, yeah? And at the time, the Honorable Lennox Linton was the opposition leader. I don't know if he was talking to the Honorable Lennox Linton, but he said anybody that tried to mess up the CBI program will be dealt with in the swiftest possible manner. So now that the hammer is coming down, I put the Prime Minister to the challenge to put down the hammer and to act with the most swiftest operations that you have in your archive. But let me just give you a background before you comment. There's that article, and it said the St. Vincent Times reported, and it does mark the end of the CBI, of the end of the Golden Passport. And as a preamble, it states there, the market for the citizenship by investment, CBI, popular known as the Golden Passport, has long been a booming industry, offering the world's elite a path to greater global mobility. For several small Caribbean nations, these programs have become a cornerstone of their economies, providing vital income stream for this island. This lucrative model, however, is now facing an existential threat. A recent report from the European Commission signals a dramatic and hardline shift in policy, putting the entire CBI framework at risk. The EU's new position moves beyond calls for reform and targets the very existence of these programs in countries that enjoy visa-free access to the Schengen area. So, Doc, I know you are very familiar with what is going on. You have actually sounded the call in many respects. Our party, the United Workers' Party, we have actually issued many calls and to ask the government to be responsible. In fact, we have gone that far to ensure that this government is taken to court, to ensure that they make the appropriate declaration as to what it is that CBI is doing, because we are not satisfied that what they are portraying, that the CBI is bringing to Dominica, is in fact what is the case, because a lot more could have been done, a lot more people could be employed. Dominica could have been a transformed country based on the number of passports that have been sold. But we're not on the local scene yet. We know this government has been plundering these funds and they have not been looking in the interest of Dominicans. But more so, internationally, we are faced with a lot of restrictions. Doc, can you just, in process, walk us through what has been happening before, where this government has been won, and what is the current situation as we speak? So you go right ahead now with the program.
Yes, yes, thanks a lot. So it is very, I mean, I don't want to use the term "I told you so," but it is quite evident now that we are in desperate straits right now. Okay, because first it was the Canadians, then it was Ireland, then it was the United Kingdom imposing visa restrictions, now travel restrictions from the US. They have gone a step further than the UK and than Ireland. They're now saying that they will not issue any new visas come the 1st of January 2026. And now, right on the heels of that, as if right on cue, we have heard from the European Union. And the European Union made a very interesting statement in their recommendations to the Caribbean countries. And they're in fact saying now that just having a CBI program is grounds for suspension. Now, why is that important? That is important because just in October of this year, the European Union, they set up what they call a mechanism that would look at visa suspensions. And when that committee first met, they recommended some changes. They recommended some changes to the European Union, effectively indicating that countries with CBI programs would have to do a better job of vetting. They would have to do a better job of doing the due diligence. They would have to ensure that they don't have any money laundering issues and so on. They went through all of that list and they're basically hoping that the Caribbean islands would in fact take some concrete measures. But surprisingly, just 2 months later, they are now saying that just having a CBI program is a problem for them. So effectively, they have told the Caribbean countries that you have to roll up if you want to continue to enjoy visa-free access. You'll have to roll up your program, as blunt and as plain as that. So it looks like the whole world has ganged up against the CBI countries. And the end result of that will be the end of the CBI program. It is hard to imagine CBI program going beyond that. I mean, I've been saying that I sound like a stock record. Going back probably 10 years, I've been saying that I was always maintaining that it was not always a matter of when, not if. And when has arrived, I think it's just a matter of time. And it's quite simple. If the European Union are to impose visa restrictions on us, on Dominica and the rest of the islands in this coming year, what that means is that the value of the CBI program is going to lose its value. People will be less interested because the overwhelming majority of persons who obtain citizenship in Dominica, they do that not because they want to come and reside in Dominica, not because they want to come and live in this country, not because they want to necessarily visit this country, but they do it for ease of entry into Europe. And that has always been the case. For ease of entry. And so that is what we have. So it is a situation now where we have to wait and see, but it does appear as if the CBI program is on its last legs. And it will be interesting to see what kind of reaction we are going to get from the country leaders, including right here in Dominica.
In experience that you and the United Workers' Party, we have been advocating that the government come clean with the people because this is no joke. You've had situations where our passports have ended up in the hands of persons with nefarious characters, and we have been all concerned. It is not that we like to talk bad about our country, but reality is reality. And the sad thing is that, though, as we speak, the British, they have actually imposed visa restrictions on us. Right now, we heard of another country in Europe, and the whole European Commission now is coming down with the hammer. Look, the US themselves have been concerned. And so we don't want the government to spend time just talking about what is interpreted in the proclamation. That's already self-explanatory. The government has to come clean the people of Dominica, because as we speak, when the imposition of or restriction of visas are put on us whether by the EU or countries within the EU or the United States or elsewhere, it is Dominicans who are actually affected. The government themselves, they can travel, they can conduct business on the country. But local people who have their businesses, persons who have to go to school, and persons who have to conduct business overseas, particularly using the US territory, they are the ones affected. Students who have to go and study. And so it is bigger than that. And so, Doc, really, we can sound repetitive, but it is time that we put our house in order and we just hope for the best. But it appears that our government has not been compliant, and that is why, hence the reason why we are in this situation. Can you speak to that? Because there must have been some, benchmarks that they had to meet, and because they were unable to meet those benchmarks within a stipulated time frame, then it seems to me that slowly and slowly the hammer is coming down until it may finally end this program. And so I just really wanted to let the listening public, before I allow Ryan to say something, to understand what are the implications for us as a country and its people. Because it's okay for government to probably don't do what they have to do, but the people are suffering, and that to me is burdensome. That is the worries, and many persons around the globe, Dominicans, are concerned about this.
Yes, in fact, that's a real concern there, because when the U.S. government gave the warning in June of this year, they actually listed 4 countries. They listed Dominica, Antigua, St. Lucia, and St. Kitts and Nevis. These are the 4 countries that they mentioned that needed to do something about their program. Interestingly enough, when they actually took action, as they did this month, they only included Dominica and Antigua. So it means that at least for now, St. Lucia and St. Kitts are possibly off the hook. It's interesting. It will be interesting to see whether or not they pursue those 2 countries. But the fact that they've factored in or they've zeroed in on Dominica and Antigua says a lot. Persons have talked about other possible motivations having to do with the coddling up of Maduro and possibly the Chinese influence. All of that is in the mix. But the fact of the matter is, when the US issued the proclamation, they never mentioned any of this. What they mentioned was the problems that Dominica had with the residency criteria as the main reason, of course, along with the vetting process and all the rest of it. So I found that to be very, very interesting, which tells me that Dominica is probably the one that they're looking at the most closely, because we've had the most problems. If you look at the litany of individuals, we've had, I think, the most reported incidences of persons who have been criminals who have received, and some very spectacular cases. These have all been documented. I will not even go into those, but it seems that Dominica had the most grievances, and also just the whole attitude of this government, the fact that they seemed, determined not to take action when they should be taking action. I think all of that played into what we see now, and it does appear that this CBI program will be negatively impacted, and which raises a very serious question for the government of Dominica. What do you do? Because CBI now accounts for 60% of the recurrent revenues. Where are you going to get this money from? Where are you going to get the money to pay public servants, to pay the NAP program, to keep the schools running, to keep the hospitals running? Where are you going to get the resources? That is a very serious concern, a very serious question that the government of Dominica will have to answer. And also, we issued a press statement asking for the Prime Minister to come clean people of Dominica, because apparently he was freaking surprised. And when he was warned 6 months ago, it was reported everywhere. The prime minister was very much aware, and to pretend that he doesn't even know why this is happening to Dominica, I think is a bit disingenuous. To use a big term, I think it's a bit on wise, for him to make it look like he never knew what it was. He needs to complain with the Dominican public, and really, have a conversation with us as to how he's going to tackle this looming problem. Because outside of the inconveniences that we're going to have, persons not being able to travel, as you quite clearly pointed out, so persons cannot travel to the US, students who are looking forward to furthering their education, not having that option, medical reasons, just family reunions. In addition to not having those things, you have a very serious concern about the real monies that have been used to finance government and where that's going to come from. So I think we're facing some very difficult times ahead. 2026 is going to be a very revealing and a very difficult year for Dominica. And it'll be interesting to see how this government reacts, how this government behaves.
Yes, thanks, Doc, again. Earlier when I saw Ryan, has he disappeared again? Oh, he's there. Right. So tonight again, before we continue, we have one of our executive members, and his name is Bernie Ryan. Mr. Bernie Ryan is with us. He's our deputy president. And Mr. Ryan, you look smart there. I see you look very brilliant and smart. And our listeners would like to, just get a little feel of you as to how you feel being part of the United Workers' Party and serving on the executive. Welcome, Mr. Ryan. It's your time now. I think you are muted. You should unmute, Bernie. Unmute. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Sorry about that.
You have been heard now. Yes. Right.
Yes. First of all, I want to say good night to each and everyone. All those who are listening, far and wide. I want to say greetings to everyone. Happy holidays. In the New Year's coming there, wish them many, many more years to come. So season greetings to each and everyone. As you know, I am a member of the United Workers' Party. I always a member, but now I am an executive member of the party. I'm the vice president of the party. And now the party have a very strong executive member now, where we going to do what we have to do on behalf of the people of Dominica. We are not doing it on behalf of the United Workers' Party. We're doing it on behalf of the people. So we are going to work for the people of Dominica. And we already started working. We already be out there doing what we have to do. We're doing our groundwork. We have big plans coming. We keep having meetings, discussing what we're going to do for the benefit of the people of Dominica. So the United Workers' Party is back on track, and we're going to remain on track.
Yes, thank you, Bernie. And as you're saying that, it probably is time to just let our listeners know that we have a big rally coming up on the 1st of February. This is Sunday, the 1st of February, 2026. But just before that, prior to that, we have been on the ground, as Bernie said, and this coming Saturday, I think is the 3rd of January, we're going to have a meeting at Daly's. So already...
yeah, I mean, it's one of the meeting, the entire executive, as we did in Casibros. We were in Casibros last Tuesday. We are going to be in Daly's on the ground there on Saturday. All of us in full strength, meeting with the people, talking about some of the issues that we're raising here.
That's
on
right.
Real Talk. But I think more importantly, offering some hope. Let them see us, let them feel us, let them touch us, let them interact with us. And as we bring that message, and also we have gotten some very good suggestions. I heard one suggestion, I believe it was from Blessing, suggesting that we go around with the megaphone to the various villages. That's an excellent suggestion in terms of getting the message out. We are not going to restrict ourselves. We are going to be doing everything possible, to bring this message out. And of course, as you rightly indicated, on the 1st, set that date. We want to encourage every single Dominican, join us in Grand Fort. Let us make this a major, major national rally on Sunday, 2:00 Sunday afternoon. All roads lead to the scenic and beautiful village of Grand Fort. I'm looking forward to welcoming every single one there, and it will be a great time, But importantly, I believe for us is to get this message out. And as Bernie said, I really want to welcome him as a member of the executive. I know his work ethic and his desire to ensure that that our party does as well. He is the chairperson of the St. Joseph committee there, and also the person in whose name, by the way, the CBI case has been brought. It is Bernie Ryan versus the government of Dominica.
Dominica.
So he's the plaintiff in
Right.
that lawsuit. All right. So we want to thank Bernie for his committed efforts and the work that he continues to do in the village of St. Joseph and in that community. So we're very excited to have him on board. And as time goes on, we'll be introducing more of our executive members. We'll show people what we're all about. But just want to encourage the people of Daily Seas to come out. We will be there in our numbers, and we want to see all of that. We want to have a great time on Saturday there in Daily Seas.
Yes, and I was just about saying prior to this, we have been on the ground, and it's something that we do to engage in the various communities, go out, touch flesh, meet the people, eat with them, drink with them, interact on a one-to-one, run necessary groups, and later a public meeting. So it's more than just that, it's an interaction. And by the way, that is just one of many we have had, and we will continue to do so as we go along and unfold the agenda. But with that, we have been your voices, so we want you now to be our voice. You have to support. We need this support, so you must patronize for this upcoming grand, rally in the village of Grand Fort. I suspect Dr. Thomson Fontaine is going to unfold his force as a candidate. I know he's strong as a leader and also as a candidate in this community, and I know this constituency belongs to the United Workers' Party, and it will be won. But we have deviated a bit, and from time to time we will make little pronouncements as to the numbers. Like you can call right now 767-245-2858 via WhatsApp. We project your voice, and it'll be heard for everybody to see, to hear. And people, you can ask questions in the stream, and we can actually look at this question. The people need to hear, like one of the questions saying, the people need to hear how and what you would do to replace the CBI revenues if and when the CBI vanishes. But before you go there, I know you had that answer a long time. We have been seeing it. And I was just coming to somewhere along the line, because we have been with this CBI program. However, people must understand that this CBI program has started a very long time ago, and close to 50,000 passports have been sold. But here, what is the sad thing about it? We have stayed selling CBI. This program, or the monies that had been accrued from CBI, we have not seen it actually reinvested in the other group sectors. And that is why, Doc, as a United Workers' Party team, Dominica, under your watch, we have introduced what they call the 10-pillar plan. And that's what we are saying. You have always said, if we do not have the CBI, we should have something that we can rely on. And you have been pointed out areas under the 10-point plan, where it is that we can look to ensure that we can activate these growth sectors and to get there. So right away now, this question from the audience, it is fitting that you respond to it, because we have been accused of not doing anything. I hope we are not going to be accused of being repetitive, but it is important that people hear what it is that we have been putting in place and we have had in place should we not have CBI. And if we have it plus that, it will be better for us. So the people would like to hear your response. And Bernie, after the leader, you could chime in on it as well. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So Craig is asking the question, what would we do to replace it? Now, it's very important to note that when we offered our 10 pillars to shared prosperity in Dominica, we did not make mention at all of the CBI program. Again, because we were already convinced then, when we enrolled that in June of this year, that by the time we get into office, either the CBI would not be there or it would be negligible. And so we were not going to build our future around the CBI program. So what that has allowed us to do, though, is to build a program around what we have, the resources that we have and we own. So what do we have in Dominica? We have land. So we have a full-scale agriculture rehabilitation project that will see us going back into agriculture full-time and actually adding value to our agriculture. So that's number one. Okay, we'll start with that. That's one of the major pillars of our agriculture. because that can earn us money. I mean, you can turn around crops in 3 months. You know, I planted melons and pumpkins, and I was surprised how quickly those things made. You know, in 3 months you can have melons and pumpkins, and you can have lettuce, and you can have carrots, and you can have all of these agricultural produce. But importantly, we are going to add a manufacturing component to our agriculture. So we'll be having the resources and with the encouragement or encouraging the private sector to go into agro processing as we do that. So that's one. The second thing is our water. We have an abundance of water in Dominica, so we will develop our water projects. That does not take time. The water is already available. It's a matter of building the plants that can then start production almost immediately. So you're putting people to work while you're increasing your exports, you're earning foreign exchange, and importantly, you're beginning to grow that wealth. That's number two. We are also looking at what we can do with our natural power sources. So we have an abundance of natural sources. The government right now is engaged, a very good thing. They're engaged in the geothermal project. That project will be expanded because we believe that we need to move beyond a 10 kilowatt factory, that we need to do a lot more than just having just this 10 kilowatts. So we want to expand that. Now, why is that important? Why is an expansion of this critical? Because we believe that we can generate the kind of power that can be used to attract manufacturing, and importantly, can be used to attract the AI industry into Dominica. The AI industry, or some of our listeners may know that one of the major factors of AI is that the servers that gives you all those smart answers and gives you all of these brilliant suggestions and so on when you do the searches, that they generate an enormous amount of power. All right, power is key. They generate, so it's very costly to keep those servers running. So we believe that we can attract AI into Dominica. That is jobs for young people. And so we have several areas that we'll be looking at: manufacturing, agriculture, the water industries, and of course our tourism products. So we have within those 10 pillars, we have very serious means of making money, to the extent that we have not even factored in the CBI. If the CBI is still there when we come in, it will be added revenue, but we have already made a commitment to the Dominican public that this will be phased out as quickly as possible. We do not believe that's a good development model. We do not believe that has worked necessarily well for the people of Dominica. We want to engage in industry. We want to engage in manufacturing. We want to engage in agriculture. We want to engage in tourism. We want to ensure that the average Dominican has money in the pockets. That's what it's all about. It's about putting money into the pockets of Dominicans. The CBI never allowed that. The CBI allowed the minting of a few millionaires, most of them foreigners, a few of them local, but the overwhelming majority of Dominican has not benefited from the CBI program, so it has not worked for the majority of Dominicans. We want something, we want industry, we want people to put people to work, we want people to earn, but importantly, Soso, we want to put money into the pockets of Dominicans. And that is how the 10 pillars are structured. That is how the 10 pillars are organized, putting people to work. And as we put people to work, we will ensure that we get the kind of results that we're looking for.
Buddy Ryan, your reaction? Yes, and remember to unmute here. Yeah, always remember to unmute, yes. Yes.
Yes, so I want to remind the people of Dominica that the United Workers' Party was in power for 4.5 years. And while they was in power for the 4.5 years, we didn't have any CBI program depending on, but yet still our farmers was doing well. Our civil servant was doing well. Our road network was okay. Road was cutting everywhere. Things was happening in Dominica without the CBI program. A matter of fact, money was meeting money in the people of Dominica pocket for the 4.5 years the United Workers' Party was in power. So if right now the CBI collapse, the United Workers' Party can do the same without the CBI. We can make sure that our people have a better living in the country. They will have sustainable job. We have one of the best economics in the Caribbean as our leader. He went as far to sustain and stabilize the economic in Bangladesh. Bangladesh have millions of people. Dominica only have 60,000. That is if we have all that. But yet still, Bangladesh see it fit to call a Dominican to come to assist them to stabilize the economy. And this Dominican is the leader of the United Workers' Party. That's how powerful the United Workers' Party is. While the government of Dominica, after a whole year, our civil servant cannot get a raise. Our farmers cannot go to the farm. We have NEP workers that cannot get paid at the end of the month. They still have to be taking credit in shops. When Christmas season, while the government is giving them ham and turkey, our leader is out there supporting the farmers and putting money in the pocket for the Christmas and also for the New Year's. That is the kind of leader we need. Dr. Thomson Fontaine is one of the best economic in the Caribbean, and he is the leader of the United Workers' Party. I have no doubt about it that he's going to be the next Prime Minister of Dominica, and we are going to assist him to stabilize the economy in Dominica because he can do it, and we know he can do it. So we don't need the CBI program. I'm not saying if things come that we will not be using the CBI program, I'm not saying we're going to done with it. But if it come to a point where if the CBI is no more, the United Workers' Party can run the economy of Dominica without the CBI. But this government of Dominica, they cannot do it. Because Ian Douglas make it clear to us. And he said to us, if it's not a passport, then what? So which means these guys have no vision. They have no kind of vision of running this country. We have a lot of resources in Dominica. We just listen to the leader. We have our waters. We have our farm. You understand? We have our citrus. We can use this and make money. We had our factory in Dominica where we were making our own soap. You understand? We were shipping citrus juice to make citrus. All that go down to the drain. We had glove factory in Dominica where we were making our own glove. We had plastic factory in Dominica. We had shoes factory in Dominica. We had bellow factory in Dominica. Where all this go under the Labour Party? They've gone, they've vanished. But yet still, a minister is telling us, if it's not passport, then what? Which means this government have no vision. They cripple our economy. They destroy the future of our young people. But yet still, our young people still have hope. Because I believe that the United Workers' Party, under the leadership of Thomson Fontaine, we will bring back hope for the people of Dominica.
Well, yes, Bernie, and I agree with you. There are alternatives other than CBI, or there are alternatives to CBI. And again, well said, Bernie. And you made a point earlier, which is critical for the listening digest of our audience, because it is very important that we understand during the United Workers' Party, in fact, money was meeting money to the under labor, kwedi, casual kwedi. Well, for those of you who forgot your patois or your Creole and you live overseas, credit is meeting the credit on the Labour Party. So yes, we are optimistic that in the absence of CBI, that we can still keep this economy afloat, and we have a person in Dr. Thomson Fontaine, world-renowned economist, to help us steer that ship in the direction of recovery to bring a better quality of life for our people. And so, Doc, having heard this, and people are saying, look, we are at a juncture where we need an economist to get us out of our economic crisis. And you are actually, you have given a mandate by your delegates to lead this beautiful and strong and formidable United Workers' Party. And I know you have Dominica at the center of your heart. Because, Doc, I know I've been around you for so long and too long to understand that you could pick up any job anywhere in the world today and turn your back on Dominica. You would, in fact, you would have been better off with a project right now, an assignment in some country helping their economy. But you chose Dominica, the land of your birth. You are not one of the ungrateful who left and never turned back. And I don't mean to say that Dominicans are ungrateful. The point is, there are opportunities overseas. Dominicans have gotten it. What we have to do is to harness some of the expertise that our people have actually achieved. Some of that professionalism we need, because we have a lot of professionals out there that we can tap on their resource and to help build this country. And Doc, I know Dominicans are depending on you to restore this country to economic sanity. The young people are calling on you not to quit. And I want you tonight to give us the assurance that you will not quit, that you are ready to take up the mantle to rescue this country, because we depend on you to lead this team comprised of trained men and women who have diverse backgrounds in respective disciplines, and we bring this country to economic prosperity. So let us be assured by you again that you have taken up this, job for the people of Dominica, because you could have been somewhere else. You could do it for yourself again and again and again. You don't need this, but you are actually sacrificing. In fact, there's something they call, opportunity cost. You are foregoing employment elsewhere to remain and to help restore this economy. How do you feel about this? Wanting to bring your people to a better standard of living. So can you tell us how passionate it is? Because I know you're a person who you are people centered. So how does it feel, Doc, for you to present yourself once more to assist Dominica and the Dominican people? Tell us, Doc.
So I view it as a great honor. I view it as a great honor. In fact, if you there is a video of myself in 1993 as a young kid talking about the Dominica economy. So I've been on this rodeo a very long time, and it is fascinating to note that we have an opportunity to turn this country around. When I look at Dominica, Dominica is an economist's paradise, an economist's dream, because Dominica has more resources than all of the islands put together. If you look at Antigua, Barbados, even St. Lucia, all of these countries have one dominant thing. They have white sand beaches, right? We can have a tourism product that equals that of St. Lucia, that equals that of Barbados. All right. So that means we can equal them on that. But then we have something else that they do not have. We have the abundance of water. We have the abundance of agricultural land that we can become the breadbasket of the Eastern Caribbean. But not only that, we can become the biggest agro manufacturer this side of the planet, and supply all of these countries with our manufactured products. So we have a lot more. And to me, that's just a dream. That is just a dream. It's just a matter of being able to commit the resources and having the mindset that at the end of the day, you want every Dominican to benefit, you want every Dominican to profit. It's about putting money into the pockets of Dominicans. And if you have that mindset, you will do those things that will do just that. So when you build a factory, for example, you're putting people to work. When you develop your water industry and you begin to build the bottling plants, you're putting people to work. When you develop your tourism industry, you're putting the bus drivers, the taxi drivers, you're putting the hotel workers, you're putting the farmers who can now grow the lettuce and the cucumbers and the carrots to supply those hotels. So it's a win-win situation. So when you think about it, we have been tremendously blessed, far and above what we see in the other islands. So I think that to us is a unique opportunity. And the fact that the Dominican public has placed their confidence in me is also critical, because now with that confidence that I've been placed, in my leadership of the United Workers' Party, we can translate that now to doing what is right for the people of Dominica. And that is the reason why we're taking this message across the length and breadth of Dominica. We'll be doing it in the homes, we'll be doing it on the streets, we'll be doing it with the loudspeakers. We'll ensure that we get this message out, because I believe that there is hope for Dominica after all. That's why I refer to this particular season as a season of hope, because I see a Dominica that will be transformed. I see a Dominica that will do well by its people. I see a Dominica that will provide for every single Dominican. Imagine, so people feel that getting $300 is a gift. $300. Can you imagine? The minimum pay that you're going to get from a factory job is a few $1,000s. It must be $1,500, $2,000 at the very minimum. So compare that to the $300. And also, when you have all of these things going, people are making money, individuals can take care of their families. They can take care of their parents. They can take care of their grandparents. They can afford to pay somebody to take care of their grandparents. So it is not a hard sell. It is not too difficult to see and to envisage. And given my experience in looking at different economies, when for example, I'm working on the economy of Bangladesh, you're talking about creating jobs for probably 100 million people, over 100 million people. In Dominica, you're talking about creating jobs for probably 20, 25,000 people. We can easily create those jobs with the plan that we have in the 10 pillars. And not only are we going to create those jobs, we're going to create jobs that will attract Dominicans. And that to me is one of the more exciting aspects of this. The population of Dominica Soso will begin to grow under the United Workers' Party. Because as we create those jobs, Dominicans who are longing, Dominicans who are looking at us even now, sitting in Tortola or in Saba or in Antigua or in Guadeloupe or in St. Martin, and saying, yes, we want to come back and be a part of this development, they will get those opportunities, because we will create those jobs. We have a plan that is set in stone. We'll get the resources to finance this plan, and we'll do well by the people of Dominica. So I'm very excited. I'm committed to this for the long run. And I just want to thank the people of Dominica for their support and the confidence that they placed in me. But I believe it's something that has been brewing for many, many, many years. Again, go back to my recording of 1993, as a kid. That has always been the dream. And to me, it's coming, it's happening. And we're going to make it happen for the people of Dominica.
So there, which I'm going to share with you from one of our participants, Nept Packet, with his perspective on what he thinks, is happening with the CBI. So I'll play it right now. You will tell me if it is coming through. So let's go with it.
Let's be clear. A U.S. entry ban does not happen in a vacuum. This is not an attack on the Dominican people per se. It's a direct indictment of the current government's failures. Years of weak oversight, questionable decisions, and poor international accountability have now put every Dominican at a disadvantage. When a government mismanages trust, the people pay the price. Students, workers, families, business owners, musicians, and the likes. Our passport, which was once respected, is now under heavy scrutiny. This should alarm every citizen at home and abroad. This ban is a warning sign, and warnings demand consequences. If leadership cannot protect our international standing, then leadership must change. Dominica deserves better governance, stronger diplomacy, and a government that restores our respect as a people and country. Dominicans, be mindful. This is a serious issue, and serious issues require serious consequences. get them out of office.
Yes, so you
Absolutely.
voted from one of our own, our former candidate for the Granby constituency and a
Absolutely.
participant from time to time on our program, Mr. Nept Packet. And that is so true, Doc. Ryan, do you have anything to say about it? Because I want Doc to chime in, but have you heard Nep's contribution?
Yes, so and he's so correct. But you see, it's not only the leadership that have to change. A matter of fact, the entire Labour Party need to come out from there because every one of them is involved in what is happening to us now. Because take for instance, recently I listening to a raise that the president of Dominica supposed to get somewhere in January, and all of a sudden you have to get a raise, but all of a sudden there is a statement that came out supporting Venezuela. I want to know if that is joining together. If it means like you have to make that statement in order to get a raise. So I want to know if the prime minister have something to do with that, or if she taken her own to do it to get that raise. Because it to me the math is not mathing. But you make a statement since in October. You make that statement, and now it's coming out. Only now the statement is out. But the reason why it's out because a raise, a premise raise, is also out. So I would like to know why. And if you listen to the guy who was interviewing the same president, you will see where it's like he was pricking her, like asking her set of questions, and then all of a sudden no, ban on Dominica, the press statement is out. More problem for us. So it's not only the leadership of the Dominica Labour Party have to change, also the president needs to resign. Because right now you put us in more problem. Because people like me who have an American visa cannot even go and renew my visa. You understand? I can't even travel to America no more. Right now, I don't even know where I stand. You understand? So now you're going to force me now to go and try to learn to speak Dutch in order for me to get my Dutch resident, my Dutch right, to get a Dutch passport in order for me to travel to America. So it's like my Dominica passport have no value. So these people need to come out from there. So we, the people of Dominica, we need to stand up. That's why we have to rally with the United Workers Party, because the United Workers Party can fix that. And this is thing that is on our agenda to work on behalf of the people of Dominica. We need good leaders that can think. Because you cannot tell me you sit on a president chair and you're making short a statement that you know that are going to affect your country. To defend who? Venezuela? What are we getting from Venezuela? Venezuela give us an oil factory, a thing in Dominica, Petrocarib, and our gas is more expensive than anywhere else. You understand? So we give Venezuela a whole island for themselves. A whole island, the Bird Island, Dominica does give. Right now, we don't even know what happened to Bird Island. We don't even know Bird Island still belongs to Dominica. And we, the people of Dominica, we sit down there and watching these things happening, and we silent, and we hoping and depending on the opposition not doing nothing. The opposition not doing nothing. But what else can we do? We have been encouraging people. We have been educating people. We have been telling people what is happening in our beautiful island, Dominica. All we ask in order to do is change government. Put the right set of people to govern Dominica so Dominica can move forward. And that's all we're asking. Give us the opportunity. Give us the chance. When we come to you, respond to us. Tell us what is it you like. Tell us what is it you want us to do. And whatever you tell us to do, we will do, because we are coming. Remember, I telling you, the people of Dominica, we are coming to you because we need change in our country. I listen in.
Yes, and I saw a message. I'm going to read a few, but Doc, before, well said, Ryan. Thank you for your contribution. And earlier on, someone said the airport is going on, and will you continue this airport? And you will respond to that, but also too, you have people saying, I saw one say, an eco hotel should be built in the Kalinago territory to be managed. And, it should be collaboration between government, the Kalinago Council, probably, and private sector. And so, Doc, a number of we have a lot of comments again coming forward. Let me see if I get this one.
There's one on the screen right now.
Oh, there's one, right. Oh, yes, certainly. Yes, Dr. Thomson, how are you and your government going to deal with the rising rates of crime in Dominica? But that's a very good question. And I think we have given you enough so that you can, relate to them. And as we go forward, we will unfold and relate to the other suggestions or questions asked.
Okay, so I'm going to deal with the international airport very quickly. The answer is yes. I mean, with that level of investment has already gone into the airport, we'll ensure that it is finished because it becomes an important plank for our tourism product. And, substantial amounts of money has gone into it. The work is progressing. And if it's not finished by the time we get into office, we'll definitely continue it. On the question of crime, we have put forward a proposal to the government of Dominica. We've asked them to pull together a bipartisan committee. By that, I mean a committee that's comprised of government and the opposition parties. And what this committee will be charged with making recommendations to government on how to deal with this issue of crime. Now, I'm not a professional in this area, but we have access to professionals, psychologists, psychiatrists, social workers. We want to bring these people. We have the minds, we have the experience, we have the expertise in our people that we can convene. And I've spoken to a few persons in that regard who are willing to offer their services completely free of charge to the government of Dominica. Let us move ahead, form that committee. That committee will then make sound recommendations on how to tackle crime and how to tackle the rising level of mental health issues that we have in the country. We are having we just had a murder 2 days ago, and we are told that the person who committed this crime was a mentally deranged person that bludgeoned a young man to death, with a cutlass. We are told that, left to be confirmed, of course, but it's alleged that this individual has a mental problem. And you'll begin to see a lot more of this crime because, as I said in the last program, in every village around Dominica, you have young people who have fell through the cracks. You have a significant rise in mental health issues in the island, and this needs to be tackled. So we will tackle crime, but we'll rely upon the professionals to come up with the kind of solutions that we need. But I can tell you just off my very layman understanding, we need a stronger police response to the crime. Because I believe that Dominica is very small. You have people that are constantly indicating their intentions and so on. I believe that the police should be good enough to infiltrate some of these gangs, to infiltrate some of these individuals who are creating the mayhem in the country and take some proactive measures. So I believe that there is a role, a bigger role that the police should be playing in helping to stop the crime, but also I believe that the government must take that seriously. This rise in crime is going to impact every single Dominican. It's already impacting every single Dominican. Innocents have been impacted. People of all walks of lives have been impacted. We had, for example, the murder of Mr. Rolls. Someone just reminded me the other day. He was killed in his very home. One of the biggest businessmen in Dominica. He lost his life to a young man who entered his home and killed him. So it is impacting, all of society, all of Dominica, and we need decisive action. So a United Workers' Party will rely on the expertise of those individuals, but we are begging with the government of Dominica to act and to act now. Convene this bipartisan committee, take the recommendations and act on it, because we need to tackle crime. We need to tackle the rising level of mental problems in this country.
Yes, thanks, Doc. And, one person said that be active, not proactive, underground, and social media is not enough. We need public meetings or vehicle moving forward. Let me just say, this is an easy answer. We have been proactive. And we only have 1 hour per week on social media. And this is one of the vehicles that we use with respect to informing, educating, listening, and making suggestions, not just from us, but persons who participate. So we have been doing this. We have been actively on the ground. We continue to be active on the ground. And as you heard, this coming Saturday, we are going to be on the ground. The entire executive of the United Workers' Party is going to be in dailies, meeting people, interacting with them, guys on the block, whether it's interpersonal contact, whether it's just group, whether it's just going in the homes and, touching flesh, and later having a public meeting. So we have been doing that prior to this coming Saturday, and we'll be doing that this Saturday and onwards. So we are by and large active. Doc, I'm happy that you spoke about, this crime issue that we have in our country, but more importantly, the mentally deranged individuals. And I've said already, and I don't know if this government is not hearing, and I know that they cannot do it any longer. They don't have the will, they never had the capacity, and I'm not saying that some people don't, they're just totally lazy. Because for one, Dominica has had a psychiatric unit for many years. We have never had a psychiatric hospital. We still do not have one. And I believe we need to have a psychiatric hospital because this psychiatric unit is becoming too burdensome. The number and increase of mental cases that we have, we do not have the capacity to hold these people for a long period of time and give them the kind of treatment to put them in sort of recoverable stage. The busy treatment and the attendance to these individuals who are just mentally deranged, there's not quality time spent with them so that they can properly recover and send back into society. So if we have right away what they call a mental hospital, then people can be housed, they will be coached, they will take their medication, and the medical practitioners will ensure that they are properly rehabilitated before they will be given discharge. And so it is just a sad state for us that with all of the CBI funds that the government claimed to have generated, we still do not have what they call a mental hospital. And we're not saying that we need a mental hospital to deliberately have mental cases. We are saying no, it is already a problem and so we need it. Our view as a party is to ensure that we arrest the situation of mental issues, and we have said that mental health issues are real. And what we intend to do as a government is ensure that when we have is increase the number of mental health clinics so that people can visit the clinics and get sort of counseling for their depression and other aspects relating to mental health. We don't have to wait when it is ripe. It's like you observe a sore on your body and you say, man, there is nothing, you scratch it, one time it bleed, one time it got black, it may get back a little better and you still pain with it. You need to arrest the situation before it becomes a serious ulcer, and subsequent to that, your leg may be amputated because of that. So we need to arrest the situation of mental health earlier and to actually have out district clinics and to advertise mental health clinics and to encourage persons who feel depressed and probably even have persons visiting people home so that they can address the many issues confronting people with respect to mental health. So we have a lot of work to do. We know that we are ready. We have people in different areas with different expertise, and they're ready to actually work and to help us to combat our challenges. And that is why we are not just interested in the diasporans to actually get them to come back to vote and to place us there, but actually to hinge on the expertise, to learn from the expertise, let them be part of nation building. Why not actually have consultations with them and have them involved in terms of our budget development? They could say they could actually lend their expertise too. So we really need to do just like what we did in the Economic Forum, though. Don't forget that we have set the platform. Well, in the Economic Forum that was held last year, that the United Workers' Party actually featured a number of Dominicans who are trained in respective disciplines, talking about renewable energy, those responsible for ports, agriculture, sports, tourism, and manufacturing, in the knowledge industry. So many Dominicans were featured, and we are proud to know as a party that we recognize our very own. We are not like this government, who disposes of all Dominicans who have expertise. All they are interested is just a vote, and then they dump the diasporans. Look at what is happening right now for the many Dominicans who have left our shores and to seek greener pastures. They are now faced probably with deportation based on the action of this government. Dominicans, we are warning you again that we cannot take any more of this government. You have to make that change. The change is now. We are your voice. You now have to become the voice of the people. Join our voice. With your voice, our voice, we have a bigger voice. We have a bigger platform to vent, and let us do it collectively. We need to put our collective energies together to ensure that this government is no more. So as we come to the end of our program, let us say that we are hoping that you can support us, and we are making the information available to you so that you can support our cause. We are soliciting funds to continue the many activities that you have asked us to carry out. And so Mo Banking ID is 555-224-2, and the account number is 1005632. I say to you again, our Mo Banking, the ID is 555-2242, and the account number is 1005636. And make sure you check us out online, uwp-dominica.com. Click on donation and go right ahead. And we are pleading for your support, because without your support, without your financial support, we just will not get it done. We need the job done. We need all and sundry. And so we ask God to bless your finances. We ask God to give you life and strength, to give you the strength to continue the work wherever you are. But we also ask you to give back and to support a worthy cause. You have supported us in ensuring that this government will answer to you and the many Dominicans around the world. Look, Bernie Ryan now has plaintiff challenging this government to make a declaration of the CBI funds and how it is spent. In fact, they need to itemize for us how the CBI funds had not been in the treasury, but have been doing all what they say doing there. So that's the work that we do. And it's because of you that we get the courage to continue. So give us that strength. We need that rally coming up. We need funds. Support us. $5, $10, $15, $20. For those of you who can contribute more, we appeal to you to do so. So before we wind down the curtain with our closing remarks, let me repeat again that our Mo Banking ID is 555-2242, and the account number going with this is 1005636. And of course, you can visit our website, uwp-dominica.com, click on donation, and right away, you can put in your liquor amount and it will be good. One and one, obviously, we are going to have two. Two and two, what they say? Well, a four, and just count it like this for us. So Ryan, thanks for coming, but before we actually put on the curtain, we'll get the closing remarks of you both distinguished gentlemen. So Ryan, can you just, for the listener, for the listening public, just wind down, give us a brief closing remark? Because
just before Ryan gives his closing remarks, I just wanted to as we're talking about the mental health issues.
Yes.
In our next program, I want us to look at some of the social ills that are confronting Dominica. Because as one of the things that I have found out, as we have been talking to people on the ground, a theme that keeps repeating in practically every community is the behavior of grown men towards little girls in Dominica. That is, it appears to me at least, that is reaching how we call it, levels that are really, you'll be surprised to find out the number of young girls apparently that are in relations with grown men. You're talking about underage girls, and that seems to be a major problem, and that is based on just the conversations that I've been having with people on the ground, people confiding in me, and it seems to be something that is not spoken about enough. And I did some background work, and I found out that in 2023 there were over 212 cases
Wow.
that came before the courts in Dominica for just that problem. But I don't believe that enough is been spoken about. I don't believe that enough is being done to tackle it, because these men are taking away the future of these young people, and that is something I would like us to actually deal with in the next program, because that is one of the social problems that we're having under this Labour Party government. And it seems to me that we don't have governance in this country, because so many issues have been swept under the table, so many issues have not been tackled. And I keep asking, for example, why are these men not taken before the courts? Why is there not a greater effort and emphasis to bring these men to justice? Okay, some of these young girls get pregnant at 14 and 15. Why is more not being done? And so that is something I would like us to discuss in the next program. And just to mention quickly as well, as we talked about this whole issue of the visa restrictions, we are working, as I have made public already, on traveling to Washington to meet with the authorities, because this is extremely concerning to me in terms of the impact that's going to have on ordinary Dominicans. So I would like to at least make an intervention on behalf of the ordinary Dominican, the persons who have been waiting patiently in line to get their green cards, persons who have been waiting patiently in line to get their citizenship in the United States, persons who are waiting to probably go and visit family members, students who are waiting to go and study. I would like to make a direct appeal on these individuals, not as part of the government, but make it very clear I'm going in there in my capacity as the leader of the United Workers' Party to talk to the U.S. authorities. We are setting up those meetings, and hopefully that will be done very early in January. So that'll give me enough time to come back and do the groundwork for our February 1st rally, which we are certainly looking forward to.
Yes, so right away, Ryan, you can go ahead. Closing remarks. Be brief. Unmute. We're not hearing you. You have to unmute.
Yes.
Yes, you have
the
been heard.
question was asked earlier on: if the United Workers' Party come in power, will they stop the international airport? The United Workers' Party always fought an international airport. That is the reason why they purchased so many land to build an international airport. They didn't get the opportunity to build it because after 4.5 years, the coalition government joined and take the United Workers' Party out. But the United Workers' Party always willing to see Dominica have an international airport. So there's no way we're going to stop an international airport that we always wanted for our country. Now, another question that was asked concerning the crime. How are we going to stop the crime in Dominica? We're going to ask the young people to get off the block and get on the bus. Now, the Labour Party cannot ask them to get off the block and get on the bus, because when they get on the bus, they have nowhere to go. But when the United Workers' Party come in power and the young people get off the block and get on the bus, we'll be leading them to places where they can learn a trade. We're going to lead them to places where they can have a good paying job. We're going to make sure that we bring back our youth program, such as Scouts back in Dominica, our Cadet Corps. We're going to see that our young people are occupied. We are not going to leave them stranded. We are not going to legalize an ounce of marijuana and give them permission to smoke on the side of the road. No. If we're going to do something, we're going to do it good. If we're going to legalize marijuana, we're going to legalize marijuana so that our young people can be farmers and making a living out of it. And we're going to do it well. So the United Workers' Party have plans. So all I'm asking the people of Dominica is give the people that can handle the country the opportunity to run this country, because they have been listening to us speak all the time. They've seen good vibes in us. They've seen that we are willing. Some of our government is not educated in leading a country because they're more busy in making money and putting money in the friend's pocket and in the family pocket and in their pocket. So in other words, they are enriching in themselves and keeping the country back, so they cannot think and do things good for Dominica. So if Dominican want something good for them, they need to change government and put the United Workers' Party to run the affairs of Dominica under the leadership of Dr. Thomson Fontaine. Have a good night.
And thank you, Bernie. Well said. And just a comment earlier, which we missed. One person is saying that what Dominica needs is a rehabilitation center for people who are depressed and have mental illness before it gets worse. I agree, and we actually reiterated this point, and we want to have, we've said we would like to arrest the problem before it gets worse, and that is why we are saying that if we increase the number of district health clinics around the island, and this for people to come and just add, because people can be undergoing depression and mental health issues unaware, and so they need some mental evaluation from time to time so that they can know where they are. And don't think that we are referring to just those who are on the streets. We are talking about persons who probably hold good jobs, may just be suffering mentally and may not be aware, and out of the blue they may be acting strange. So we all need to, from time to time, have some mental evaluation done, and to get it done by the medical practitioners. So Doc, yes, your final comments.
Yes, so let me just say a big thank you to Bernie for coming out, and and I think what Bernie appearance shows tonight is that we have within the United Workers' Party persons who have a heart for Dominica. The way he talks so passionately about getting the young people off the block and on the bus, I mean that resonates. It shows a heart for bringing change to Dominica and making a difference in the lives of the young people. I overheard a conversation in a barber shop today, and there was a lot of discussion going on. And then there was this 17-year-old boy who intervened and said, "Man, this country is hard." He was like, "For a young person, I don't see a future in this country. This country is hard." And it reminded me of why we are doing this. We are in this for this young man who believes that Dominica is hard. We're in this for these young people who are facing an increasing level of violence. When you have a hit list of some 17 young people on the dead list, these are people that are supposed to be killed at some point. It tells you that your country is in trouble. And somehow this government seems to be fully asleep. They need to come awake. But I think more importantly, the people of Dominica need to send a very strong message to this government. And that is why we are positioning ourselves, we are preparing ourselves to be the next government of Dominica. We will tackle the social issues. We will tackle the economic issues. We will put money into the pockets of the people of Dominica, and we will offer hope to our young people. That is very important to us, offering hope to our young people, making a difference, putting money in their pockets. That's why we're going to be building the factories. That's why we're going to be rebuilding agriculture, setting up the tourism industry, doing our water industries, our essential oils, using what God has blessed us with to bless our people. And so it's a very exciting time for us. Looking forward to being on the ground. If it's one thing I'm really enjoying this Soso, just being amongst the people. I must say a big thank you to the people of Dominica, even those who do not support us now are welcoming to us. And that is one thing I've noticed that is very, very, and I must make mention of it so far, and I believe that will continue as we go across Dominica. We have not been shooed away. We are not being told, go away, don't come back. People are welcoming us. Doors have been opened to us. Homes have been opened up to us. We can sit on the couches of labor rights, and those who don't share the same view that we do about the governance of this country, but they're listening. And so we're excited about that. We'll continue to build on that. We'll continue to encourage support for the United Workers' Party Team Dominica. And we continue to do what is important to ensure that we bring that change to Dominica. This is our solemn promise to the people of Dominica. A big thank you to all of you for listening. And we want you to spread the word. There are persons who do not have Facebook, but you can find us on YouTube at UWP Team Dominica. Just put in that search. There is a United Workers' Party YouTube channel where we have this program every Monday night. You can also get us on if you got the live streams on our webpage, www.dominica.com, and you click on live streams, you can also get us there as well. So we have different ways of getting this message out to the people. Spread the word, spread the love, and above all, have a wonderful rest of the season, and we'll talk to you in the new year, actually. Next year. We'll talk to you next year.
Yeah,
All right?
yes. So as we finally put on the curtain, let me just thank you, gentlemen, for showing up, our esteemed political leader and world-renowned economist, Dr. Thomson Fontaine. We have our Vice President, Mr. Bernie Ryan, and yours truly was the host, Glenroy Soso Cuffy. And the best way to put on the curtain finally on it is one person who said, UWP will bring back decency to our international relationships, negotiate with the UK, USA, and EU, and with Canada to bring back hustle-free travels. So with this said, we want to say thank you for participating. And remember, we depend on your donations. I will say finally again, our mobile banking ID is 555-2242. Our account number is 100-5636. And also our website, you can visit this, uwp-dominica.com. Click on donation, and right away, you will get through with respect to your donations. So until next Monday, God's will, we say thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. One love, one Dominica, one country, one spirit. We love you. Have a good night.
Good
Bye.
night.